Hi, John Marshall, DrillMaster. Last critique for today, but I really wanted to get this done. I appreciate this performance, exhibition drill performance, armed AFJROTC from a few years ago. Let's see, what is this? This is okay, 4 years ago. Alrighty, so 2019. But let's watch this. There are some great elements here, but there are a couple of programming issues, and I'd really like to go over this with you. This is probably going to take a long time, but uh, the more you understand about exhibition drill, the more you understand about marching, about program design, about the structure, then it just makes your world as a an exhibition drill writer or even performer. It makes it so much easier. All right, so let's get started. There's my cursor. All right. So great opening statement here. I really appreciate it. It's just quick. But there is an opening statement, and I like that a lot. So many teams just kind of march in, really do nothing except go in and exhibitionize a flight or platoon formation and report in, and then they start performing. Whereas this is a performance from the beginning, and this is exactly what you're supposed to do. Exactly. So and there's different levels that you can do, obviously. Something interesting is, so rifle placement a little bit off here, a slight timing issue on the feet, but still it comes across well. And this is this is this marching in sequence with the rifle, the butt drop there. It's a an opposite take on what the silent drill platoon will do. Um, you got to watch their performances, and they will order on the right foot and then step off. They're ordering on the left foot, so it's an opposite thing here. It's almost like hiding, at least from this angle anyway. It's almost like hiding the rifle and wondering where that sound comes from. So, of course, sorry about that. I tell you what, I'll. All right, there we go. So I can tell that this is base honor guard trained instructor with a few of the movements that the team has performed coming in. So we have a slightly layered report in formation. I appreciate that very much. A standard present arms, TIs with the boy. You guys really just, you went off the deep end with the salute. Honestly, it wasn't it wasn't supposed to be a salute that you take and throw your hand into Iowa. That's a different video. Anyway, so we've got variation of technique here, though. Look at the hands. So we've got flared hand, fine, whatever, exhibition drill, that's good. We don't do that in the Air Force. We follow the, except for colors, we can do that for colors. But, and also don't get me started on that one, but we, for any kind of armed regulation drill, platoon element type of formation, we follow the Army Training Circular. And I know that at the beginning of the pamphlet it says, "Oh, you follow whatever based on rifle type," but that that makes that much sense. I mean, it does make some sense, but it that's where it ends. All right, so we've got that layered look. I would suggest to somebody who is doing this that you have these two at the outside right here step in. so that they're seen and not just have 6 doing the same thing. I'd also recommend that the 3 right here have some kind of, plant the rifle, so you can see it in the video. Plant the rifle, bring it across, and salute, that type of thing, so that you have some kind of different, some kind of variation there. This stance here, Air Force Honor Guard drill team, works really well. It's great. Hand placement's a little bit different here, little varied, and so we've got also a rifle that's rotated just a bit. But the standard present arms, it works. There is snazzier type of movement and positions, and I would suggest a little more snazzy. So of course it's got to do that again. Here we go. I'll try not pause anymore. It's got to be raining somewhere here in Florida, so that our internet is slow. So what's interesting is that having a commander that is outside the team and yet armed with the rifle, that presents a nice opportunity for the commander to integrate with the team. But then again, something like this, usually the commander will follow first or second element as in marching. It depends on what kind of move is going on. Really liked that. Just this is fantastic. It would have been much more effective had everybody been in line as they came through, but that was fantastic. Nice job there. The angles there really, the placement of the rifles there really worked well. And again, placement here with the so I got to go back. We'll go back to here. So right here, placement just doesn't work. It's a little bit off. You can see that, sorry, you can see, so first the middle cadet for this rank was out, and now he's out of alignment. And so that the recovery, so if you follow the World Drill Association adjudication system, recovery is part of what's adjudicated. You don't take every little tiny bit and mark here for professionalism, or there's 10 points for professionalism, and whatever that means. It's never defined. But anyway, so you grade on a whole, and recovery is part of it. So recovery here is very slow, and it still was out. Love the beta type move here. Maintaining the spacing, maintaining alignment, which is very difficult when you get to double. Well done there. Good recovery. Ankles on that facing movement varied. I'll try and get back there, but you can watch the ankles on that facing movement for the team. So if you want to go watch this video and watch this cadet's left heel, I should say heel, not ankle. The left heel is way out there, for a nice smack in for that finishing the facing movement. But his, taking just those two, his is much more conservative, and so it's just inconsistent. You can have either one. It doesn't matter. This is exhibition drill. You can do different things, even odd things that can communicate to the audience something different, which is a lot of times what you want. But you at least have to be consistent throughout the routine. So here we have elbow placement, which is different. And believe me, all these tiny little things really take effect on the entire routine. So that step off was interesting. I like the push. That was really good. Working in a slower rifle movement with a slowed down step. This is great. A reduction in tempo, whereas pretty much the whole routine so far has been at the same tempo for about a little over 2.5 minutes, which is fine, not a big deal. Getting into a slower a slower tempo really does work well. So let's go back to here and watch. So did you see his foot? His foot came up and then smacked down. So again, consistent application of the same step style, the same hand style, whatever the technique is you're doing, consistent application throughout the team is going to work at communicating much better. That is, unless you're designing into the routine something different. So let's say everybody in this rank, they were to lift that right foot up and kick it down. Everybody here was to then lift the left foot up, or it was varying degrees of lifting the right foot up. Maybe the front was quite low. The middle, we'll just call these elements for lack of a better term here. So we have this front element lifted up a just a little bit, and then the middle element lifted up more, and then the last element was way up there, and it was a layered effect, visual effect, creating sound then with maybe a foot stomp or something like that. So if you design that in there, fine. If you don't, and it happens, especially just with one or two at a certain moment in time, then you have an inconsistent application of that technique. And then marching step style here as well. We can go back here. This cadet is bringing up his feet and keeping the bottom of the foot level as he brings it up. So it's again a different application of the marching step that it slightly detracts from the performance. So far, besides the move that I absolutely loved, where they came together all in one line, love this rotation, the slight rotation with the kind of a 1-2 type of movement. Lots of 1 and 2 here, and this is good. So the 1-2 movement, I mean that one part of the team does something, another part of the team does something, and it's a ripple effect, but it keeps going back 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and that's great. I appreciate that very much. And now I forgot what I was talking about earlier. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Nicely done with the spacing there. That was great. Really worked well. And if you notice here, it's just relatively simple rifle movement, but much of it is very clean. Like the rock back, marching backwards. The head movement accentuates the rifle drop. I think it's a little bit too much to go that many times. Glad that cadet fixed herself. She was almost going to turn before everybody else. So that's what I was going to say. So besides the one movement where the team came together and formed a single file line, that I really appreciated. The team's just gone back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. They've really stayed within this dark tile line and this dark tile line, and that's it. So, and that would have been much more effective had everybody come together at the same time. That really would have looked great. But I love this rotation. It really does work well. Keeping the spacing throughout, and you don't have a center. So like on colors, you have 4 members of of a color team, you don't have a center, so the center is the rotation point, and you have to move around that center. That really did work very well, and not facing the audience. That's different. That's odd, and I appreciate that. That brings intrigue into the performance, and I'm going, oh, okay. So what's coming next? Let's see what happens. This is good. This really is. So let's just take a look at the feet right here really quickly. Slight. So this is based on physical differences. This young lady might have a slight inward rotation of her femurs, which then brings her knees in a little bit and then brings the foot out. So, and since I'm not looking directly on behind her, I can't see exactly, but you can notice that her right foot is brought up differently, swings out a little bit than this young lady here as well. And then we've got some males who, guys usually stand with their feet out like this, and girls usually stand with their feet like this. Usually, not all the time. So when we mark time, though, we want to march like this. Always march like this. We don't want to march like this, and especially march in place, which he is doing. So there's a slight foot rotation outward. There's, these are tiny little details that really eventually need to be looked at. And I know this is 4 years old, but this is for our edification now. Anyway, if you have a physical difference like that, if you're teaching a cadet who has that physical difference, then massage therapy is a good way to get those bones to reset, get new muscle memory going. Chiropractics as well can also be involved, but anyway, that's just off on a personal, individual note that I've brought things up like that to parents before. Really nice, kind of a head chopper type of movement that worked well. Spacing not exact now that the team has turned around. But I really appreciate the outward, out to in and in to out, the ripple lines here. That's different. I'm so used to ripple lines like this, going from one end to the other. And this, the flow movement, even though it is slightly almost digitized, you could say, it still works really well. I do appreciate that very much. It's different. And then we have a nice fast ripple, which is great. So you have variation in tempo, you have variation in directions, and that's really well done. So even though there's a repetition of some of the rifle work there, it's applied differently. Now, this I definitely appreciate, although my suggestion here as far as programming is concerned is to not have everybody move up and get into position, to have the center, so we have the two elements out here like this, the center element, and then have the center element move back so that everybody's moving into place and you don't have the middle element already in place and then everybody else kind of moves up and around. I'd have it happen all at once, so then you can start even faster. It's on the next phase of the routine. That helps the flow of the routine. So we have horizontal flow and we have vertical flow. So the vertical flow right here at this moment, not happening all that well. The horizontal flow throughout so far has been okay. It's worked really well. Although I would have more, so maybe you don't have the room. So I'm looking at there's a cone there. Maybe this is marked off. Yeah, maybe this is marked off for a nice. Angles, though, really matter. So are we pushing the rifle more out to the front, or are we pushing it out to the side? So there seems to be a slight difference on a couple of people. So she looks to be a little bit too far out, and he actually looks to be a bit too far forward. There's more of a 45-degree angle. These two right here aren't making the 45, and she's past the 45 just a bit. But it looks like there's a couple of cones there. Maybe this was marked off for a basketball court type of size, so there really wasn't much depth, and that's limiting, unfortunately. But you've got to deal with the area as you come to it. Switching areas, going from basketball to 100 by 100, that's not good at all. So if you have to create for one, then you've got to consistently maintain that. So maybe the depth thing is, at least my perception, not being able to be there and see the boundaries. So I would still create more depth for the performance, instead of just going back and forth here within these, like I was saying, the dark tiles. But and I just wanted to note right here, we have great foot placement. So really, what everybody needs to do when they're kneeling like this, it's the kneeling Queen Anne. It's a variation of the kneeling Queen Anne salute. So both knees need to be at a 45-degree angle. Both, or the left knee in this case, needs to point straight ahead, not out to the side. So it looks like there is, at least on a couple of cadets, there's an angle there. The foot placement needs to be straight forward, and then the rear foot needs to look like his, pretty much. Needs to stick out straight back, though, but then be straight up and down, and have the toe bent like that, so that you can get back up. This is the foot collapsed to the outside there, so it needs to be the ankle, the shin really needs to be rotated back, so that it's so that the foot is straight up and down. And then application of the left hand salute there, you can see very different. That's middle of the chest, fine, that's good. Over at the shoulder, fine. Out a little farther. Love that move. That's just great. And I appreciate the turnaround as well. Marching backwards, that was really, really good. So there was one thing. So the commander, you gave order arms. Really do like that. That's cool. You gave order arms, and instead of, this is exhibition drill, forward march, present, order arms. These are regulation drill commands. You can use them. There's no real problem with using them. However, there are terms that exist: ready, move, and just about anything else you can think of. And nothing else comes to mind right now. I've been working on regulation drill all day. So anyway, be inventive with your commands, or even use yes sir as you were answering the judge. Use yes sir as your command, which a lot of teams do, and which is fine. It eliminates the need for calling yet another command. But really, I appreciate this performance. I really do. Love the little, yeah, that was good. Really nice. So thanks, team. Even though you're probably graduated by now, But I really do appreciate this performance, and I appreciate the individual who designed it and then taught it and put it all into action. That's a fine job. Well done.